Hare Krishna. We continue reading from Teachings of Queen Kunti. We are on prayer number 19. This is from Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 36. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasures in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So we have been hearing the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and we'll continue to hear that how that Krishna comes to free us from the tribulations. And how does He do that? He gives us devotional service, gives us bhakti yoga. And He says, you engage in bhakti yoga and you will be free from birth and death. You'll get relief from all miseries and you'll be free from birth and death. So Prahlad Maharaj says in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 7, he mentions that this bhakti yoga consists of 9 items. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atmanavedanam, Iti Pum Sarpita Vishnu, Bhaktis Chinnava Lakshana, Kriyeta Bhagavati Adha, Tanmanya Aditam Uttamam. Hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming His servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto Him. In other words, serving Him with the body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 23 and 24. So this is the Nava Anga Bhakti, the 9 angas, limbs of devotional service. The 9 processes of pure devotional service begins by hearing and chanting about the Lord. Then remembering the Lord, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming His servant, considering the Lord to be one's friend, and surrendering everything unto the Lord. Surrendering everything. These are accepted as pure devotional service. And one who is dedicated himself to pure devotional service, he is a person who has acquired complete knowledge. He is the one who has acquired complete knowledge, because as we said, that what happens one gets complete knowledge? One comes on the transcendental platform, on the spiritual platform of understanding that I have an eternal relationship with God. I have an eternal loving relationship with God. So he has acquired, he's understood completely, perfectly understood his position. So he's the one who is most learned. And this is appearing in Srimad Bhagavatam. Hearing means hearing about someone's activities, form, qualities, entourage, and so on. If I want to hear about someone, he must have some activities. We hear about history. And what is history? But it is but the record of the activities of different persons in different ages. As soon as there is question of hearing, we must ask, what subject matter should we hear about? So we are said, Shravanam, hearing. Hearing is the first process. So Prabhupada is saying, what does hearing mean? We are speaking, we are hearing about someone. We are hearing about the activities of someone, the qualities of someone, the entourage, paraphernalia of someone, someone's form, how do they look like, what did they do, what do they like, what they don't like, who are they connected to, who are their relatives. So history is that. History is that, talking about people. So Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. We should hear about the activities of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, not about the news in the newspaper. When we are hearing the news, now we'll say, oh, but I am not even reading newspaper. I'm not hearing, but we are on the internet. When we are hearing, we are reading the news, that is hearing. It could be in any different form. We are hearing of things that have happened where we are not present, right? Oh, what happened today? Let me see what happened. Let me see what happened. So who should we hear about? We should hear about Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. Brahma Jigyasa, we should inquire and hear about Brahman, the Supreme. These are the statements of the Vedas. That we should hear Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Human life begins when we begin the inquiry into the absolute truth. We want to understand the absolute truth. That is the beginning of human life. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we also hear and chant. But what is the subject matter? The subject matter is Krishna. We are not hearing about market reports and the price of this share or that share. No, we are hearing about Krishna. So hearing about Krishna or Lord Vishnu, that is devotional service. And when there is hearing, there also must be speaking or chanting. So we speak and chant about Krishna. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. And as soon as one becomes expert in hearing and chanting, the next stage is smaranam, thinking or meditation. So when we are hearing, somebody is speaking, either ourselves or someone else. So hearing and speaking. And then when we become expert, so what happens is the more we hear, more we hear God's glories and God's position, then it's natural, we will want to speak about him. It's a natural thing. The more we hear about God's glories, we will speak about him. And then the next stage that naturally happens is remembering. Remembering, when as soon as one is expert in hearing and chanting, then there is smaranam, thinking or meditation. Whatever we speak or hear, we shall later contemplate or meditate upon. First, one must begin with shravanam, hearing. Otherwise, how can there be meditation? If one does not know the subject matter of meditation, where is the question of meditation? Therefore, there must be hearing and chanting about Lord Vishnu. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So it's only when we hear, then we will be able to remember. Then we will be able to meditate. If we have not heard, we have not chanted, we will not be able to remember. Actual meditation in yoga aims at seeing the four-armed Vishnu Murti, which is the form of the Lord within the heart. That is real meditation. So we've been reading this in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, Dhyan Yoga. The goal of the Ashtanga Yoga is to see the Paramatma in the heart. And the Paramatma in the heart, he has a four-armed Vishnu form. The Paramatma has a form. And that form is Vishnu form with four arms. And that is the perfection of yoga. That is real meditation. Now rascals have manufactured other methods they call meditation. Meditation. The senses are very restless, going this way and that way with the mind. But by the Ashtanga Yoga system, which regulates one's sitting postures, one's breath, and so on, one can control the senses and concentrate the mind on the form of Vishnu. So Ashtanga process, first we do the yam, niyam, do's and don'ts. Then the yogi, he finds a proper place to sit in, far away in the forest. He's alone. And then by his breathing process, regulating the airs, he controls his mind and senses. And why does he want to control his mind? So that he can concentrate the mind on Lord Vishnu. So he can concentrate his mind on the Paramatma within the heart. This is called Samadhi. And it is the real goal of yoga. Thus, the Ashtanga Yoga system aims coming to the point of Smaranam, or remembering the Supreme Lord. So, this is the perfection of Ashtanga Yoga. Lord in the heart, the Paramatma of in the heart, the real aim of Ashtanga Yoga. About hearing and chanting and remembering. Comments?
So I think that this is also very, very important what Prahlad Maharaj said, the Shravanam, Kirtanam. And I think the ears, we always say that hearing is the best source. So I think, and they say that the ears are the first thing that a soul gets, because inside the mother's body, Prahlad Maharaj heard about the Vishnu bhakti, and then even Abhimanyu heard about. So I think ears are the first thing that the soul is given, and then it is the first thing taken away at the time of death also. Like not even death, but sorry, not the last thing, but even in our lifetime, the ears are the first thing that starts deteriorating, because we have heard a lot of people in the old age, they can't hear properly.
Hearing is the last sense that we lose, in fact, when we are
at the time of death.
It's the last thing, because even people in coma,
they could hear. Wow.
As you rightly pointed out, yes, it is the most important. The ears are most important. Why? Because only by hearing can we acquire about God. You know, as we have been saying today morning, by hearing, the more we hear, we can understand how great God is.
Yeah.
Once we know how great He is, then we will chant. We will chant His glories. So, but to be able to do that, we need to hear. As you're rightly pointing out, hearing is very important. So we need to hear about Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu from the devotees who know Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. So hearing from the yes, more we need to hear how great God is. What is God's position? You know, that's the reason we need to repeatedly hear from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So when we are reading, we are hearing. We are reading Prabhupada's purpose. We are hearing from Srila Prabhupada. He's telling us saying in Bhagavad Gita. So we are hearing the word of God through the mouth of a pure devotee.
Yeah.
That is the way, because we might hear from people, but if they don't know about God, if they don't have love of God, how will they help us to know and understand God and revive our love of God?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for bringing out this most important point. So we need to continue to hear chant. Here we will automatically chant. Hear and chant will automatically remember the Lord. Then we'll read the other processes tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining in.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna.